Maybe we'll save that for like next week or something. I don't know. PewDiePie and Red Joker become mandatory reactions for Brody. This is true. This is very true. For now, we'll watch the Monster Hunter video.
Okay, I've got a question for you. How can a game be the best-selling game of the year so far, and the 4th highest rated game of the year critically, and also...
Well, critically, there's the first there's the first problem you have. Critically, imagine trusting what the critics have to say. What the hell is it, Shujinko? I've never even heard of this one. Like, the other ones I may not have played, except this, but what even is this? Shujinko. Is this some... What the fuck is this? Is this like a 90s inspired RPG? Why the fuck is it the best? I am so confused. I have no idea. Maybe it's a good game. I don't know, but I'm so confused.
Highest rated game of the year critically, and also sit at 15% positive reviews in Steam. That's a goofy situation, and it's happening to Monster Hunter Wilds, which in a way is a paradox, because by any normal measure, it's a game of the year contender. Just, you know, not by a little metric called player satisfaction.
That is... That is rough. But hey, I thought PewDiePie would get an extra 1 million subs after his Linux anime hit Arnold's new stuff.
So it's bizarre, and it does paint a bit of a picture for the future, because here's what's going on. The PC gaming audience is more and more important. We actually make up so many sales that we cannot be ignored. You guys know how it's been, right? For years and years and years, we get shitty ports, a lot of bullshit. Publishers just don't take us seriously. But now what's changed is they have to take us seriously because we're worth a shitload of money. Now, I've also got something to tell you about. Traveling to the US for Epic Universe's opening was awesome, but it did mean dealing with something that's not fun, and that's roaming charges. Just that this time I didn't have to deal with them because of today's sponsor, Saley, who saved me a fortune. They are an eSIM provider from the creators of NordVPN, and they give you local data rates without the hassle.
Didn't we see this on PewDiePie's video?
Cards. It is so easy.
I think we did.
You just download the app, you pick your destination from over 200 countries, choose a data plan, and that's basically it. You'll be connected to the internet the moment you land. You won't be paying stupid roaming rates or any of that stuff. And also,
sorry, I just heard my doorbell go off. Give me a second. Hello. My housemates ordered some PC parts, and the monitor just showed up.
Means no more hunting around for sim vendors at airports, no keeping track of tiny cards.
I'm sad because I'm watching this ad. We always watch the edges.
It's so instant, it's so quick. And in my example, I just went with a USA plan, which was significantly cheaper.
If we're gonna check out someone's video, we're gonna look at the edges.
Literally took like 3 minutes. You just install the eSIM once, and there you go. It works globally. And if you're planning to hit multiple countries, you can get a regional plan and save even more money. And of course, you keep your regular number for calls and texts while you're then using Saley for data.
I'm not gonna sponsor block. I'm gonna watch someone's video.
They've also got built-in security features for safer browsing when you're away. So
that's not gonna happen.
Awesome. And right now at Saley.com/BellylerNews, you'll be getting a exclusive 15% off with code BellylerNews.
We love edges.
And all you need to do is download the Saley app or just head to Saley.com/BellylerNews. Okay, last time we talked about Monster Hunter Wilds, it was of Capcom's gamble paying off. And look, it did pay off. But a month has passed since then, and over that month, a lot
Just asking why? Because we're watching someone else's video. Why would I'm not going to skip... We're looking at someone else's content. We're not going to skip the ad for it. Like, that's just rude.
Sentiment has changed. Now, so you understand, here's the situation. Monster Hunter Wilds had to deliver just over half of Capcom's yearly revenue target. Now, that obviously was a pretty tall order, but it did end up succeeding. Not only that, it actually vastly surpassed
It sold a lot of copies.
Now, at the launch, right, more than half of US sales were on Steam. And that kind of means that without the simultaneous PC and console release, this game would not have succeeded the same way. Certainly not financially. Now, over on console, it's a success, but on PC, The launch was really shit. The performance issues
I wouldn't say the launch is shit. I would say the game is still rough as hell.
Make things messy, and that does kind of make sense. I mean, think about it. If you're
Hey, at least you're getting high frames here. It's showing the stuttering you get with frame gen, but hey, at least you're getting good frames. That's something.
For only 2 consoles, that is relatively straightforward compared to getting consistent performance across every PC build that is possible. It's not an impossible task. Loads of
no, it's quite consistent. It's just consistently
optimized games in PC, but it requires effort, investment, and time. Now, here's the thing. Capcom did not have time. They needed this game to be out for long enough to hit their financial year targets. So the ideal world where console release would happen and then PC would come out when it's ready, when it's a good product worthy of being sold. That obviously didn't happen. It couldn't happen.
The idea here is
the reason why
they rushed it out because they needed to hit sales targets before they did revenue reporting. If that's the reason why the game's cooked, like that's just so rough, man. Like, remember when it was being a publicly traded company is honest. It seems like it's just a drawback. Like, yeah, obviously you get more funding, but there's so many things you have to do that ruin the product that I just hate it. That's all I just hate it.
Is Capcom's financial targets. Now, obviously, they did set them for themselves.
Sure.
But here's the thing. They basically have had a story of 10 years of 10% growth a year. And if memory serves, if they didn't hit it this year, they would have broken like a 10-year streak. That would have been real bad for their investor.
Well, that's a problem that only keeps getting worse. It's like, oh, they didn't break the 10-year streak. Oh, what about the 11-year? What about the 12th year? Like, the longer that goes on, the worse it's gonna get.
Narrative and all that stuff that big companies do actually care about. So essentially, it was a classic example of misaligned incentives. Their incentives were not aligned with ours. That was always going to come to a head in the long run, and now, thankfully, that has actually happened. Take a look at this graph. It's kind of lovely. We see a very clear trend where at launch, there's a 60-40 split, and that stays proportionally 60 to 70% positive as the updates and fixes roll out. But then, as May ends, clearly something changes. So here's how we get there. April's first big title update added a new monster, new endgame features, updates to the social hub area, and some other minor things. Then, May's end brought the Street Fighter collaboration complete with Akuma's weapon. So basically, content was coming, but the core game, the thing that people really cared about, was not changing. Then the month of June hits, and that is when the real shift happens. And man, what a shift.
Does she want me to? I mean, wait, is this? Sure, if you want to drop a link to it, I guess why not? Feel free to do so.
If it is, there's over 11,000 user reviews in the last 30 days, of which only 15% are positive. The vast majority are negative, and people are rightly pissed. There's a few reasons why. I'll summarize them. So, first up, Capcom took a harsher line in mods in early June where they suspended players who were using mods to access gear and cosmetics that were not yet released to the public, which, you know, is understood to access gear.
So people were modding content in, and then they're like, nah, you can't do that.
Gear and cosmetics that were not yet released to the public, which, you know, is understandable, but it's really not like Capcom were sort of, you know, standing on firm ground with this game. So, yes, that pissed off some people. Second then, a bug with shader compilation caused CPU load to spike big time.
That would explain why the game was unplayable
during gameplay, and Capcom's response was to just tell players to manually delete shader files until the next patch, which is a solution, but it's not really a solution, fix, and it's just frustrating. And then third, it's less something that Capcom did, and it's more just the situation of this game becoming obvious, because by now, so few people remained compared to what you would have expected. Prior Monster Hunter games had more players, and you basically see that per the Steam charts, only the most dedicated people are left. And through all of this time, negative reviews about performance kept on coming. And again, like justifiably, rightly so. The next big update then is the announcement of Title Update 2 on the 10th of June, and it's promising a release by the end of June. And basically, there will be more endgame monster tiers, quality of life and balance changes, and performance improvements, especially on the Steam version. That means changes to VRAM usage to limit crashes, promises of enhanced texture streaming, and other things that are nice. But there is a problem. I mean, if those were enough to make people happy, you would have seen it in the Steam reviews, but we don't. And that's because these just weren't fixes in the truest sense, at least in the audience's mind. Essentially, more content and some nice but not super core fixes happening in the context of deep underlying problems within the game that are not being fixed. And what this led to is a classic snowball, because once the negatives started to outweigh the positives to a sort of critical mass, it just snowballed. People decided to hop in and leave negative reviews because by now it was obvious to everyone that Capcom had dropped the ball and that there was no way they'd be able to just brush that shitty launch under the rug and have us all forget. Oh no.
Why is it that Capcom just can't release a good open world game right now? Better yet, why is Wilds open world? Why do we need a fucking open world Monster Hunter game? What was wrong with a small enclosed world? Better yet, what was wrong with separate zones? It didn't need to be open. Like, world was big enough. You didn't need to have a giant map.
We'll remember. All right, PC audiences, we are used to being heard. Steam's a big platform. It's got reviews, and those tools are often something that drives change. Because if changes don't happen, negative reviews in theory should slow down sales. At least in theory. It often does work. It can kill an indie game, but if you take a look at Call of Duty, well, sometimes, negative reviews will not.
People who are playing COD are the same people that are playing FIFA. They buy Call of Duty. They buy FIFA. They don't care if the game's bad, because in a lot of cases, that's the game they play.
Change a developer's mind. In this case, though, let's talk about Wilds and break the criticism into two camps.
A little off topic, do you personally play any abandoned online game on community servers? I used to play RuneScape private servers prior to OSRS coming out. That's the only one that is notable. I used to play a bit of Quake as well. Not really. Not that much anymore.
There's artistic and there's technical, and Wilds has got both. As for artistic problems, sometimes those do or do not get updates. Maybe a dev has got a different vision from a player. An example of that changing, though, is, say, Helldivers 2. Essentially, the devs really wanted a harder rock, paper, scissors with weapon balancing. Players just wanted more of a fun power fantasy, and ultimately, the devs decided to agree with.
I play Fusionfall on Open Fusion servers. Amazing game. Fusionfall. I've never heard of that one. Fusionfall. Oh! Yeah, I do know what this is. Okay. I feel like I watched a YouTube video essay about this.
The players, and it did end up working out. So this is a game that does have that type of artistic, of design criticism. But then there's the technical, and that's where Capcom honestly are fucked.
Can you play Halo on Linux? Yes, you can play the Master Chief Collection basically fine, as long as if you're doing single player or co-op, it's fine. If you want to do multiplayer, I think you have problems.
Obviously, PC is hard. We've all heard the meme of, works in my machine. But here's the reality of things.
Well, it doesn't work in anyone's machine this time.
Staff before launch looked at this. But then, well, that turned into thousands and thousands.
Well, the problem is we got gaslit with the PC release. We were told it was an early build. We were told it was going to be improved by launch, and then it wasn't.
Thousands of players with loads of different configurations. That is exponentially more, and players are good at finding problems. As PC gamers, we do appreciate that PC is harder than consoles, so launch issues, if they're dealt with promptly, I think can be broadly accepted by people, but only if they are dealt with promptly. that's not happened. It's only got worse over time. We're nearly 4 months post-launch. We're past at least one paid DLC. And what's happening in this front? Capcom is still recommending that users like delete files manually to fix shader compilation.
For AMD GPUs, right-click on your desktop, open Adrenalin software, go to press Windows key and launch disk cleanup. Select your siege. Oh my fucking god. This is... Really?
The impression is that Capcom do not care, that they got their money from a messy launch to hit their big financial goal, and that now they don't give a shit. And the ultimate endpoint of that is accusations of it being a dead game. Now, the funny thing is, as much as that narrative has set in, and there's a lot of truth in it, if you go and look on Steam, you do actually see Capcom are literally discussing Steam-specific fixes in patch notes and in dev diaries. But that's obviously not working. That's not...
You can discuss them as much as you want. If it doesn't make a noticeable change, it doesn't matter what you've discussed.
Not solving the broader issue, and what's far worse is that this is beginning to look like a pattern. Multiple reviews call out poor performance compared to Monster Hunter World of course, 2018. Do you know what's funny? That game actually launched with mostly negative reviews in Steam. Not a 60-40 split, mostly negative. But then what happened? Well, it immediately rallied. It now has got near universally positive reviews, and that...
Yeah, what is it sitting at now? Monster Hunter World. It's also 67% off if you would like to buy it. It has a 90% positive in the past 30 days, 89% in all reviews, with 300,000 reviews.
As Capcom fixed up the PC port, and they brought the game in line with...
The game runs amazingly on PC now. There's zero issues.
Console. And for a while, it looked like a genuine Capcom redemption. They had good PC ports, good performance. But then Dragon's Dogma 2 happened. That was in March 2024.
What is that one sitting on? I love the first Dragon's Dogma. I was so excited for Dragon's Dogma 2. And then it came out, and it was a rough one. It's not sitting as bad. This is 56% right now. So, you know, could be worse.
It had heaps and heaps of problems, and one of the most egregious, the town performance stuff. The fixes didn't arrive until June, which was 3 months later. Wider performance fixes then came in September, which was 6 months after launch. That's insane.
And apparently it's still not great now.
There's been no changes since. And that does mean that cries of, "This has been abandoned by the devs," are actually not hyperbole. Does actually ring out. It does make sense. And the general understanding then
Which is so sad, because Dragon's Dogma was such a unique RPG. And it was so unique. It had AI that was the party AI was actually really good for the time. It had such a cool system of being able to hire pawns, and then the second game comes out and you're like, what the fuck was this? Why did you make this?
Without hardware.
And the problem is, the game is good, it's just the technical problems.
From recent years, you'll just have a shit time. And one that you shouldn't really have. The idea basically being that if it wasn't for NVIDIA frame generation making up for these shitty launches, and, you know, I mean, evidently devs and publishers not treating things with the respect that they should be treated with, that we'd just be screwed. But hey, Jensen is here with his frame gen, and we're
I don't think that's the case. I think these devs are seeing that the game runs fine with frame gen, so we're not going to put the effort into it.
Safe. Which is a grim reality for us to be in, where now we're trying to pad our frame rates with fake frames. Anyway, people basically can look at this and see the same pattern with Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, many people are blaming the RE engine because it's, well, sort of connective tissue between all of these things. Essentially, the theory is that only Capcom's open world games have got these sorts of problems. And I think that's fairly logical based on the evidence. But as long as you ignore one thing. The games run fine on console comparatively, which basically means that
that doesn't really discredit the point. RE engine on PC, like that's That still makes sense as an argument.
It's likely PC-specific optimization stuff. The sort of thing where you need more time, more resources, more energy. And oh, boo-hoo, poor Capcom, who got over 50% of their American sales from the Steam version. By now, it is simply an undeniable pattern of behavior from this publisher. And of course, you then look at, say, Resident Evil Requiem and think, oh, well, it'll probably be like what has came before. A bit shit. All of this has happened before.
I don't know, because they seem like they know what they're doing with the RE engine in Resident Evil games. It's just the open world stuff that's a problem.
For all of this will happen again. You know, once upon a time, back in the 2010s, Capcom had a reputation, one of incredibly shoddy PC ports. But they overcame that. They did good. And now PC releases are making up more than half of their sales, at least that stat in America for one of their most successful games ever. And they earned that. They earned those sales by putting out great games that people enjoy. That's why over 1 million people have wishlisted Resident Evil Requiem across all the different platforms. It's now the 29th most wishlisted game in Steam, 8 months before launch. But that's also why people worry. Think about it. Capcom gets that much Steam traction, even in spite
How much shit do you have to eat until you stop saying it's chocolate? How many times does it have to happen?
of their last 2 releases being just disrespectful.
Whenever someone says Jensen's name, all that comes to mind is his 50-70 promise. Oh yeah, wasn't it 40-80 performance at half the price or something like that?
Factful shit shows, both not only having rough launches, but also bad post-launch support for the PC platform. And that means it feels like they are taking PC for granted. They want the money, but they don't seem to want to do the work that deserves, that earns
40-90, sorry, 40-90 performance.
These reviews are really about.
Okay,
it goes deeper than just this one game. Whenever I said that Capcom pulled a dirty trick, well, I think that's been proven pretty right as times went on. Capcom, it feels like you'll happily benefit from us, but that you're not willing to actually invest in our concerns, and actually treat us with the respect that I think a customer deserves. And I have a perfect contrast. The ultimate way that you actually know the audience matters. PlayStation basically scared themselves shitless whenever Concord went the way that it did. Because of that, they've changed a hell of a lot. So ultimately, money, our money, talks. Whenever people don't show up, these companies are forced to change.
Don't pre-order video games.
It's not happening
Never do
with
it.
Capcom thus far. Maybe it will in the future. And if you want to see how it impacted Sony, watch this video next.
Welcome to the state of PC gaming. Apparently Death Stranding 2 runs really fucking well, which is nice, right? It's nice to have a game that comes out that runs incredibly well on PC. But, you know, I'm just gonna go play Final Fantasy VII. And that'll run well on a fucking potato. I'll send you guys the link, and that'll be the end of the stream. I like how that guy just never sent me the link to the song. Anyway, no stream tomorrow, most likely. If there is, you'll see a notification. If there's not, you won't see a notification. Podcast this weekend, I believe, is... I think it's Ren's episode. I think it's Ren's episode. So check that out. Until then, if you've not seen the video on Stop Killing Games, be sure to check that one out. I saw there was a comment under it by Ross, which is always nice to see. Go sign the petition if you've not done so already. And the stream died. The stream fucking died. Lovely. Are we good? Jesus Christ. See you guys later. Peace out. All the good stuff. And my music's not playing because MPD decided to die.